Thanks, Sean. In 2019, a few of the PMMI Media Group editorial advisory boards asked for more coverage of small and medium-sized companies. So Packaging World magazine added a new section called Emerging Brands. As we began to highlight these up-and-coming companies, we found that an emerging brand is often not a new company, but one that has survived startup and is now showing a rise in market awareness. This rise can come from a surge in any number of areas, such as being a disruptive innovator, having record sales growth, skyrocketing social media attention, innovation awards, expanded distribution, or new branding. Will Schroeder, the founder and CEO of Startups.com, said it takes at least 4 years just to get pointed toward a real business, and 7 to 10 years to make your startup truly the success that you had in mind when that idea came to you. The reason most companies don't find their footing until year 4 and beyond is because it takes that long before every aspect of the business has been refined. Sometimes an emerging brand may be purchased by a larger company that prefers to keep the brand's unique presence. While such ownership can be a boost to the brand, it can also be a liability if larger companies trim underperforming brands, as we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, some large companies like Kraft Heinz are creating their own incubators for emerging brands. Coca-Cola's incubator, Venturing and Emerging Brands, or VEB, has generated the growth of Body Armor, Fairlife, and Zico, among others. As we focus on the packaging journey of these emerging brands, Jim Chrzan, Vice President of Content at PMMI Media Group, will next talk with Candice Crane, founder of the sparkling beverage company Petal, about her journey as an emerging brand. And now I'll turn it over to Jim.
Thank you, Kim. And with us this morning now is Candice Crane from a sparkling botanical beverage, Petal. And she's one of the beautiful brands that Kim covered in her segment. And we wrote a story about Candice last year in our emerging brands section of Packaging World magazine. And she's got a great backstory. She's a transplant from South Africa to Chicago. She's also already spent time in the packaging industry before launching Petal. And she got her inspiration from her grandma and recipes she used to make drinks with, things like rose water and natural botanicals. Candice, I first saw you at the Natural Products Expo in Baltimore, and your can and label literally called me from across the show floor. What's that story about where you found the artist for the design of the logo?
Well, thank you. Thanks, Jim, for having me today. My vision for Petal was to revive ancient elixirs and botanicals that are globally known around the world. So I had an opportunity of a lifetime, really, to create a brand from scratch. And because we were using these botanical ingredients, I wanted the can to really jump off the shelf, just like it did with you at the trade show. And so I found an artist in Scotland who designed the artwork for our can to really emphasize these botanical ingredients.
It's so beautiful. And you now have some news regarding your old way shrink label and now your new printed on cans, which we've been running in Packaging World. It's brand new.
Yeah. So actually, this was a big COVID a milestone for us that we accomplished during COVID. This was our old sleeves can we produced to really prove out the concept of Petal. This is our elderberry white tea flower, and you could see that we actually now print directly on our cans. So the artwork it actually pops a little bit more, the metallic on the can. And again, being a new and emerging brand, the packaging was so important because it really needed to pop off the shelf and really speak to the consumer as they walk through the market. And so this is the old can, and this is the new printed can.
Congratulations. That's really cutting edge in packaging right now. We had talked earlier this week about, being an emerging brand during a pandemic, and what has happened to Petal and how have you had to shift?
Yeah, just as I was saying, how I designed the label to jump off the shelf. Unfortunately, for new and emerging brands, for a couple months, consumers weren't walking through the stores, and they weren't browsing like they used to. And so we really needed to speak to our core consumer, our tribe, as we like to call them, via social media. And we really started targeting our consumers at home while they were at home, and running ads online. And we've been hosting live events like live DJs, live nutritionists, live mixologists, live yoga classes on our Instagram. You can find us at Drink Petal. We also had one independent large grocer in the Chicagoland area that posted about Petal on their Facebook account, and they had 5 times the engagement than any other brand. And so I think the benefit of creating a brand in the last couple of years is that Petal really has a personality that speaks to our core target consumer, which is, females ages 18 to 32. Although we see lots of men drinking and purchasing Petal as well, and in other age ranges as well. But, our personality of our brand really speaks directly to the modern day consumer. And the consumers are almost demanding brands like Petal. They want better for you sodas, the seltzer waters. They love the botanical ancient ingredients that we've really blended together nicely. And, we're trying our best to really just market online and drive traffic into stores and partner
And
with.
how are you changing some of your packaging to meet that e-commerce demand? You said you had a project going,
Yeah.
I believe it is with your father.
Yeah, so we have 2 simultaneous projects that we're working on. Luckily for me, my father has since retired from the packaging industry, but he used to build manufacturing machinery, a company called RPAC out of Schiller Park, Illinois, and they built end-of-line packaging equipment. And so as we were evolving into this online e-com space, and also during COVID, our retailers have demanded that we make 4-packs. So I simply went to the best of the best person I knew, which happens to be my father, and I've actually given him a job. So he jokingly says that I'm his boss now. But we're working on 4-packs for brick and mortar, but we're also working on a 4-pack starter kit for Amazon. And we've actually we have a ready to ship, they call it, corrugated box that fits 4 of our cans into the starter kit. And
Nice.
That'll be ready in the next 6 weeks on
Wow,
mid-October. Yeah. So we'll have a 4-pack starter kit, also a variety 12-pack, which has all 6 of our SKUs. And then, of course, you can buy a 12-pack of each of our SKUs individually. But
so you're still moving forward even during the pandemic, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And for any new brand owners or emerging brands watching today, what would be some of your advice that from day one helped you get started and helped you get the success that you've achieved so far?
Listen, I think that people have always advised me to have a strong co-packer partnership, someone that can produce your product to the standards you'd like. We're an organic certified beverage and a carbonated beverage in a slim can, and so those were our requirements. So it's important to have a strong partner to be your co-packer, and strong distribution partners as well, to make sure you can get on shelf in the right stores. And my advice would be to a new and emerging brand, it's a competitive space. So know your story, know your core consumer, and speak directly to them, and try to laser focus on who your target is.